Hello everyone, we are the group 5. We're going to tackle about the principles of aquacultures from principle number 29 to principle number 34. The following are the reporters' name: Bensulan, Locust, Lukman, Muhalip, Orok, and Sumapad. For principle number for principle number 29, as production per unit area increase, the quality of the feed must be higher. As time passed by, fishery industries also improving in terms of facilities and other innovation. Especially we are in the 21st century having high technologies, many studies about different fields, especially to the feeds, because to achieve high quality, to achieve and increase the high quality of feeds in order to increase the production. Quality of feed is a vital part in fish farming because feeds account for about 50 to 60 of the variable cost of production. Okay, next slide. Variables that may affect higher quality feeds. We have the first is raw materials. Be sure that 100% that may pass under the approval of the government. Nutritional formulations. Make sure that 100% pass under the Food and Drug Administration. And then transportation. Make surely that being packed properly and will not expose to rain or over high temperature. Market performance. It must be affordable for the low fishermen to acquire. And then lastly is the climate must be stored under its proper condition of temperature. Okay, next. Major problems that may result from low quality feeds. Poor appetite. Poor appetite may result to low weight and decline of harvest. Slow growth may result to long or may result so long duration of month or wasting of time. High feed quality ratio may result to too much expenses. And last is the survival may result to the decline of numbers of fish of being harvested. And that's all for principle number 29.
Now let's proceed to principle number 30. It states that if a feed is not supplemented by natural food organisms, then the feed must be a complete feed and contain all the essential nutrients required by that particular species at the right proportion. So as we all know, there are many types of culturing a fish. And one thing that we look upon is that these types differ from the aquatic ecosystems where these organisms are cultured. So some aquaculture pond systems depend on natural food organisms for food and other essential nutrients, while there are also some pond ecosystems which supply food for the cultured organisms artificially. So this principle clearly suggests that if the fish is not supplemented with natural food organisms or it is not living on a natural ecosystem, it should be provided with a complete feed that contains all the nutrients necessary for their growth and development. Now, looking back at the said principle, it mentioned natural food organisms as well as complete feeds. So these natural food organisms include the detritus, bacteria, plankton, worms, aquatic insects, snails, aquatic plants, as well as fishes. So these organisms are present in a natural pond ecosystem. Now there are also some aquaculture pond systems which nourish these organisms in order to maintain its growth for the benefit also of the cultured fishes. Now when we talk about complete feeds, these are a mixture of carefully selected ingredients necessary to supply the nutrients for the fish. So these are produced in a form that is easily digestible for fishes. So when we look at it, there are a lot of uh, different shapes of feeds like round shape, tube-like strips. There are also some that look like pebbles and some are resemble cereals. So in this table, we have here a feed formula for Nile tilapia pellet feeds. So when we look at it, there are different ingredients like the fish meal, fish oil, corn, rice bran, wheat bran, cassava, soybean meal, limestone, and many others. So there are also different types of pellet feeds like the pre-starter feeds, starter feeds, grower feeds, and the finisher feeds. So it depends on the age of the fish being cultured. So for pre-starter and starter pellet feeds for Nile tilapia, the highest composition is that of the soybean meal, which is equivalent to 62.4% for pre-starter pellet feeds and 38.5% for starter feeds. But if the fish grows and is almost marketable in size, it will now consume a grower feed or a finisher feed. So for grower feed and finisher feed, the highest composition for Nile tilapia pellet feeds is the rice bran, which is composed of 35% for both finisher feeds and also grower feeds. So these ingredients listed here are considered enough to supply all the nutrients that the fish needs because it is considered a complete feed.
Principle number 31. The growth rate of fish varies widely with water quality or fertility of the water, good supply of oxygen and other minerals from organic matter or decomposed organisms determine water quality. These are required for a fish pond in order to meet the necessary requirements for growth of the cultured fish. Inherent ability to grow. Some fishes develop and mature in a short period of time, while other fishes mature easily. This factor is natural among the species. That is why before putting up a fish pond, you need to determine first the expected time you have for that kind of species to grow. Number of fish stock per unit area. Appropriate fish stock density should be considered with reference to the unit area of the habitat to allow free movement and growth of the fish. Quality of food. It is important to supply the fish with high quality food to make sure that it can grow to its desired size and weight in a particular period of time. It must contain essential nutrients from natural feeds or from artificial or supplementary feeds. Space and waste disposal. Fish should be kept in an area where it can comfortably grow. That is why space is an important factor for them to easily become mature. Regular water changes should be done also to allow disposal of waste. Temperature, salinity, and pH. Ideal water temperature of pond water depends on the fish species to live there. Some goes with the salinity. Regular checking of pond temperature, salinity, and pH level is one good thing to do to ensure speeding up of growth rate. Health of fish. Fish should be free from any parasites and disease. This may affect the growth of the fish by attacking their body systems and could also be the cause of fish, and these are the examples. Next slides. Next slide. The growth rate, being the most important quantitative trait, is the main focus of breeding programs, which are mainly based on crossbreeding to achieve quick improvement of growth performance in the F1 generation. Next. The growth potential of common carp is enormous. If the water temperature is suitable, its many forms and strains can attain an individual weight of about 0.2 to 0.3 kilograms or 1 to 1.2 months respectively. For example, Cyprinus carp or common carp. According to Food and Agriculture Organization, it can survive in temperatures ranging between 23 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius. It can survive even long winter periods. It can endure a salinity of up to about 5%. The most desirable pH range is 6.5.9 pH. Ideal tank for carp is 8 by 6 feet or 2.43 by 1.82 centimeter and at least 2 feet or 60.96 centimeter deep. Because it is omnivorous, there is a high tendency that it can consume animal food such as water insects, larvae of insects, worms, mollusks, and zooplankton. Another information about the growth rate of fish, there are 7 ways to make your fish grow faster using ethical methods. Number 1, put your fish in a larger tank. Number 2, let your fish get used to their new home. Number 3, ensure that the temperature is just right. Number 4, monitor water quality. Number 5, do regular water changes. Number 6, always make sure the tank is clean. And lastly, number 7, provide high quality food. That's all.
So let's proceed to principle number 32. Principle number 32 states that, next please. Within limit where a large number of small fish are present, increased rate of feeding can replace to predation in obtaining a high percentage or proportion of marketable size fish. So, as fish population increases, feeding rate will also increase and predation may also take place due to the food rivalry or competition, because fish must need to meet their basic need in order to them to survive and grow. So next, please. So as you can see, there are 2 graphs which represents the percentage of fish growth with equal and unequal feeding. So in the first graph, as you can see, the prey or the small fish has its 50% growth and the predator or large fish has 100% growth. While the other graph, as you can see, the prey or small fish has only 30% of growth and the predator or the large fish is just the same to that of the table 1, which is 100%. So that small fish, which has 30%, as you can see, there is a predation. So as large fishes or predators eat small fishes, so there is a tendency that small fish will decrease in population and will slow the growth. What do we need to do to have a marketable size fish? So in a large in an area where there is a great population of small fishes, the fish should be fed more to prevent large fishes from eating small ones and letting other small fishes to grow and develop. This will increase the percentage of marketable size fish because small fishes will be added to the population of other large fishes. So always remember that in this principle, that feed intake and growth are the two key factors to have a marketable size fish. So that's all.
Principle number 33. The more fish per unit area, the greater the parasites and disease problem. It only explains that fish population or density population greatly affect the health conditions of the cultured fish and the environment of the pond. So stocking of fish is very important. We need to have a proper way of stocking to avoid crowded environment for the fish. Next. Density population affects three factors. That three factors are the water quality, fish activities, and the fish condition. In water quality, varies directly to population density of the fish present in an area is due to deterioration of waste materials accumulating in the pond. The high the population of the fish, the high is the waste accumulating in the pond. And the next factor is the fish activities. Competition of fish over food source will start and many fish will will become stunted or low growth because they lack food. And the third factor is the fish conditions, having high risk to be infected by the parasites and diseases. Why? Because due to crowded environment, the fish are on stress and can easily attacked by the parasites. Next. Examples of common parasites in the pond are the fish lice, leech, nematodes, and tapeworms. These parasites can weaken the fish by destroying tissues, or in worst case, fish will slowly die due to parasites. There are symptoms or signs that fish are infected by parasites. These are discoloration, open sores, reddening of the skin, bleeding, black or white spot on the skin, swollen areas in the fish, and pop eyes. So, in this principle, the increasing of density, individuals are predicted to experience an elevated risk of disease transmission in combination with increased competition, lower food abundance, and a decline in environmental quality. In this principle states that we need a proper stocking of fish in the pond for for able to able to stop or for able to have a productive reproduction of the fish. That's all. Next.
So principle number 34 states that the minimum age of spawning and the frequency of spawning are dependent upon the rate of growth. So the spawning activities of fish depends on the rate of growth of the fishes. Food availability, water quality, temperature, salinity, and etc. are important to be required by the cultured fish in order to mature properly and be able to spawn. So some species mature early for about 4 to 5 months in a good condition, while other like salmon, it takes years for them and other species to become mature enough for spawning. So next, please. The rate of growth of fish indicates physiological response in external environment and internal status. So, external environment condition, ito na yung temperature, salinity, water quality, and yung internal status is the health condition of the fish. These factors that can affect the fish growth and production. That's why it is very important to the fish that they are in a good condition in order to mature properly. Most of the fish, salmon, flounder, bass, and etc., reach sexual maturity in adult size between 2 to 5 years. Tilapia matures easily about 6 to 8 months. Fishes reproduce by asexual and sexual reproduction. So this is the fusion of egg and sperm, wherein female release egg to the water and male release sperm to fertilize the egg. Fish exhibit seasonal cycle in production of gamete. So fish spawns during a specified period of the year which coincide with environmental factors that are available during the said period only. So wherein entire period, gonads attain fully maturity and spawning takes place. So this is what we call the breeding season of the species. So fish usually spawn once a year through spring or summer months. They start and finish 1 to 2 weeks. So next slide, please. So example is the spawning of Nile tilapia. So mature females spawn every 3 to 4 months. Spawning begins when the water reaches 24 degrees Celsius. The female spawns in the nest. After that, the male releases egg to the water. The male will fertilize the egg. And immediately, the female collects the egg in her mouth and incubates the egg in her mouth and hatch it when it becomes fry. So sexual maturity of tilapia is a function of age, size, and environmental condition. Nile tilapia matures about 10 to 12 months and 350 to 500 grams of weight. But under growth condition, sexual maturity in farm ponds at the age of 5 to 6 months and 150 to 200 grams of weight. So when the growth is low, the sexual maturity of Nile tilapia delayed from 1 to 2 months. A 100 grams female can produce 100 eggs per spawn. So while female weighing 600 to 1,000 grams can produce 1,000 to 1,500 eggs. So that's all for the principle number 34.
Cell unmute.
So those are the principles of aquaculture from principles 29 to 34. So in conclusion to that, principles 29 to 34 mentioned about food supplementation, growth rate, the necessary methods to prevent predation, as well as parasitism, and many other important topics that aquaculture should consider. So these principles are what aquaculturists and many operators of the aquaculture industry depend on for the success of their production. So that would be all, and thank you so much.